is gonna roll me. I ain't the sharpest tool in the shed. She was looking kind of dumb with her finger and her thumb in the...
Alright, Titans, welcome back to episode 6, little Smash Mouth All-Star to get us started here. Our goal today is to use box and whisker plots, frequency charts, and histograms to represent data graphically, and then talk about how outliers will affect the data. So let's jump right in here. Outliers, what is an outlier? An outlier is a value that lies outside. So either it's like way bigger or way smaller than most of the other values in a set of data. So looking at that example down here in the bottom, we got 3, 25, 27, 28, 29, 32, 33, 85. Well, which ones are just way out of the norm? That'd be the first one 3 and the last one 85. They're what we call outliers. They're just completely outside of there. So if you're asked to find an outlier, it's the one that just doesn't go with the rest of them, basically. Now on to box and whisker plots. Box and whisker plots is going to have 5 different things on it. First thing you have to do is you have to make a line graph here. And on your line graph, you'll plot the minimum value, which happens to be 17 on this example. This comes from the example we did in class. You have to plot a median, your middle number. 36 comes from that example in class. And then a maximum value. And then you also plot what we call the lower quartile. And the lower quartile is the median of all numbers in the list to the left of the median. So it's the median of the numbers to the left of the median. So in our example from class, 25 plus 30, divide that by 2. The median on the left was 27.5. If you're going to write down, take some notes on this, write down what a lower quartile is. Because then you'll also have an upper quartile. Make sure you write this one down. That's the median of all the numbers to the right of the median. So from that example in class, we would have gotten 40. Once you have those 5 points are the ones you need. Minimum, lower quartile, median, upper quartile, and maximum. Once you have those 5 points, you draw a box around the middle 3, and then draw your whiskers in, which is a line through all your points. And there is your box and whisker plot. So here are some hints for making a box and whisker plot. You might want to take some notes right here, write these down. Make sure data is in order from least to greatest. So in order to do it, you got to get your numbers in order, smallest to biggest. 2, find the minimum value, the median, the max, the upper and lower quartiles, those 5 points. And 3, plot those points onto a number line. Okay, those 3 right there. You got to pause, anything like that. Pause this right now, write those down. Those are your 3 steps. And then draw the box and whiskers as your 4th step. So let's look at an example here. We've got draw a box and whisker plot for the following data. Well, if I look at it right now, I'm going to say those are all in order from smallest to biggest. So I got to find the median. I've got 7 numbers. The median is this middle number here, which is 8. So that's my median. The lowest number, or the minimum, is going to be the 2. The max is going to be the 14. Now I just need to find the lower and upper quartiles. To find the lower quartile, I'm going to look at these 3 on the left side. Which one's the middle of those? That would be this one. This is going to be my lower quartile then. Then I've got to look at the right side of the median, those 3. This is going to be the middle of those. That would be my upper quartile. So now I have my 4 points. So I need to make a number line first. I'm just going to go 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. You just numbers where all your numbers you need to plot are going to be in there. Okay, then I plot those. So I plot 2, I plot 4, right below my number line, 8, 12, and 14. Those are my 4 points. And then I'm going to want to make sure I label those, so make sure you label them. So that's like 2, that's 4. Sometimes they won't be nice off the number line. So label what they are right below. And then we go ahead, draw in our box around the middle 3. Line goes right through that middle one too. And then your whisker is just a line straight across through the middle. And there is my box and whisker plot. What that basically means is there's a lot of data in between that 4 and 12. The majority of the numbers happen in the box. Whiskers are not necessarily outliers, but they're kind of not where all the data is at. Most of the data happens in between this 4 and 12 in here. This is where most of it lies. Okay? So that is a box and whisker plot. Moving on from a box and whisker plot, we'll do another practice problem in class. But the next thing we'll talk about is a frequency distribution chart. And we kind of talked about one of these on the NISA frequency distribution chart. You make 3 kind of columns here, 3 columns, put a title on top. On the left side goes your interval, and that's basically where appropriate intervals that will include all data values. So it depends on what your numbers are, but these would be intervals of your numbers. Next, we go with our tallies, and we basically put a tally mark for everything that lands in the interval. So for example, I've got 1 that lands from 10 to 19, 2 from 20 to 29, so I just tally for each of those. And then on that last spot is the frequency, and for the frequency, you actually count those number of tallies and then write the actual number. So tally, you just tally it up. Frequency, you write the actual number. So this is just based on a set of data. Okay? Whatever your data is, you make an interval. However many numbers that are in that interval, make a tally, count those up, and do your data. But you need 3 columns, a title on top. Alright? We'll do some examples of those in class. Just want to get it out of the way here. How do I determine those intervals? A good way to determine the intervals is to take the range divided by n. And that tells you kind of how big those intervals should be. So the last one was like 9, 10. Took the range divided by n if I had actual numbers there. Okay? And then you adjust as needed, basically so all your outliers can be in there. Because we don't want to be missing some numbers. Okay? Another way to show this same thing, and this is our last thing for today, is the histogram. And a histogram is basically a bar graph. Basically a bar graph here. So you're going to have, X and Y kind of. You put a title on there. It comes right from the frequency distribution chart. On the left side goes your frequencies. So 0 through 6, however many frequencies you had. You need to label that. Make sure you label it on the side there. So maybe that's your number of tests. Number of tests in that interval. On the bottom, you write your intervals. So maybe those are like your test scores. Test was out of 50 points. We got 0 through 9, 10 through 19, 20 through 29, 30 through 39, and 40 through 49. And then on the left is your frequencies. And you make sure you put a label on the bottom. And then we go ahead and draw in a bar graph for each of those. Make sure these bars are touching when you do this. So for example, we had 0, score 0 to 9. So I might even go ahead and write in a 0 there. I had 1 score 10 to 19, 2 score 20 to 29, 6 score 30 to 39, and I think 4 score 40 to 49. So I just draw a bar graph based on my intervals and my frequencies from the frequency distribution chart. That is all a histogram is. Make sure your bars are touching. You draw these in there, and then we color them in. And that is a histogram. It shows kind of where the most data is. It's a visual diagram. All 3 of these are kind of visual diagrams to see where the data is at. Okay? Those are our 3. We'll do this example in class tomorrow. Guided practice, page 450, number 28. If you want to go ahead and look at it, look at it. We'll be looking at that one in class tomorrow. And that is the end of episode 6. 3 things: histograms, frequency distribution charts, and box and whisker plots. Lots and lots of examples and practice in class tomorrow, but you got to come in knowing what those 3 things are. Okay? Have an awesome time. Have an awesome day. Have an awesome night whenever you're watching this, and we'll see you in class.
Shape of an L on her forehead. Well, coming